Good day. Today, I would like to show how to match payments, your customer payments on Xero. So I am assuming you are using Xero to raise your invoices. So I'm just going to walk you through how to add um, when your customer pays you, how you add that to your invoice on Xero, and then how to run and send statements on Xero. Now, this is a demo account, demo company provided by Xero that I'll be using to um, demonstrate this. So when you log into Xero, you come to the dashboard on here. You go into contacts and customers. You want to have your bank statement to hand to show the date of payment and the amount of payment. Okay. And then I'm going to focus on this is my customers, and now we'll be focusing on the DSR, small business services. So on DSR, there is the amount of 4,470 and 63 pence outstanding. So let's go into the customer, and then you can see that there are two invoices making up this amount. So one is for 4,200 and the other is for 270. So the invoice amount is for 850, but there has been some payment made. Okay, so the amount due from this customer is 4,470 and 63 pence. So let's assume the client made a payment of 4,000 of the whole amount. There are two ways. There are one of two ways you can add this payment on Xero, which are two ways I prefer to usually add this payment on Xero. So the first method is to go into the customer as we are doing right now. Go into the invoice. We know that the client has paid 400 and we know that the client has paid 404,470 and 63 pounds, made up of this balance 4,200 and 270 and 63 pence. So to match this payment, I can go into the invoice, that invoice, and then top right, I click on add payment. It is for 4,200. Remember, the client paid 4,400, so we're splitting the payment. So this is between two invoices. So this is for 4,200. We choose you enter the amount there. You choose the payment date. Let's assume it is that date. Then this is important. The account, the bank account, this was paid into. So let's say it was paid into the business account. You can put a reference that you select the bank account. That is optional. You don't have to put any reference, but you can. Once I'm happy with this, I then click on add, and the payment has been added. Okay. Now you can see it brings me to the screen of invoices. You can click on this link. It says view. You can go back to view invoice, or you can click on that to send the receipt. Remember, the client made a payment of 4,470, of which we have only allocated 4,200. So there is 270 left to allocate. So I'll go back, contacts, customers, the same customer, and then I go to the outstanding invoice for 270. And then I had the remaining payment for the balance. Make sure you choose the same date. Yeah. and then I'm happy to add that. So I have added to 4,470 in total into against two invoices. So let's go back to the customer account, and you will see the account, the balance is zero. Okay, so that is one way you can allocate um, your payment. So this, where the customer has paid the exact amount on the invoice, it is straightforward to match the payment in this way, where you have an invoice for 4,200, the client has made a payment of 4,200. Dead easy, straightforward and simple to match the payment in this way. Now, this example assume that the client made payments for two invoices. So I'm just going to show you the second method. Going on to the second method now. The same customer, okay. This can be a bit complex, but if you are okay with using this option, this can be simple. And this is where a client has made, this works perfectly where a client has made a bulk payment, so payment for multiple invoices. Okay, where the payment is for a single invoice that matches, the first method works perfectly fine. But where the client has made or customer has made bulk payments, this method can be used. So I would go into the plus sign up there. I'll click on receive money, which I'll choose. I want to receive the money into the bank account. I'll click on next. Note this is important. I'll select overpayment. From, you choose the client, then you choose the date of the payment, then you put a reference if you want to, not necessary, but I usually put POA. POA stands for payment on account. And then I put the amount that was paid, so £4,470 and 63 pence. Once I'm happy with that, I will click on save. Alright, so you can see transaction saved for DSR Small Business Services dated. Okay, it does not end there. You can see there's a link that says view transaction. So I click on that link to view the transaction. This has only added a payment to Xero to the ledger, but you have not allocated it to the invoice. So this next step is to allocate the payment to the invoice. So I'll click on view transactions. It opens up the transaction, and then I click on the link no invoice number, and then I come over here over payment options, and then I choose allocate credit. I can then allocate this to the invoices that I want. Okay, so I want to allocate all this payment to these two invoices. All right, as you can see, remaining credit is 0, and then I can choose allocate credit, and that is it. So this payment has been allocated to these two invoices. Now if you go back to the customer account, you will see there is no payment outstanding. So I have covered two ways in which you can allocate your customer payments against invoices. Method 1 is simpler, where the payments match the invoice. Method 2 is for where you have bulk um, a bulk payment for several invoices. So I'm just going to quickly cover sending statements. Right, so you have matched all your payments. You now want to send a statement to your customers. You can go into contacts, choose customers, and then on your options menu there, choose the options to send statements. Activity, you can choose to send detailed activities or just the outstanding balances. I prefer to choose the activity because that way the client can see the invoice, the payment, the invoice, the payment, the credits. And then I choose the date I want to start from. So from what period? Let's say from the 1st of April till now. Today is 20th till now. I click on update, and then it shows you all the outstanding balances and those that are overdue. And all that they need to do is select the ones I want to send statements to. Once I have selected them, all that I need to do is click on email, and then if there's an email missing, you have the chance to put the customer's email. Yeah. And then once I'm happy with this, all I then need to do is click on send, and that will send the statement off to the client. So in a nutshell, that is how you match customer payments on Xero, as well as send statements out to the client on Xero.